Welcome back to another episode of the Uncensored Truth. It's me, your girl, Etolia Magdalena. And I'm here by myself today because I have a story time for y'all. I have some hot piping tea about myself. You know what I mean? And I can admit, you know what I mean? I have a confession. I can admit that I am still growing. I'm still learning myself. I'm still on the journey to becoming the woman I want to be. But I still make stupid mistakes. Specifically when it comes to dating, I, for some reason, have every other part of my life in order. I feel like I have a good handle on everything. But dating, my hopeless romantic self just will not allow me to date in the way or capacity that I feel like dating is nowadays, like in our generation, like being very cold-hearted and I'm just a very nice person. Like, I just love. Like, I just love it. So I'm going to tell you guys about a story when I settled for trash. And when I mean trash, I mean bare minimum effort, being used, disrespect, the whole nine. Like, this story, I look at myself and I'm like, how did we get here? How did this even happen? You know what I mean? So we're just gonna get started with the story. So I'm not even gonna say the time period. I'm not gonna say names. I'm gonna make up a name. I'm just gonna give the story and what I've learned from everything, and you guys can just do with that information what you will, because it's literally so bad. So I met this boy. It was crazy because I was like coming out of my apartment at the time and I was going to go get my nails done. So I was going to get my Uber because I didn't have a car at the time. And he was driving down the street that like my Uber was on. So I was going to get my car, but he was driving down the street. He stopped and then he's like, okay, yeah, you can like walk across the street pretty much. So I'm like, all right, cool. Mind you, that day I had no makeup on. I was feeling crazy. Like, my hair was done. I think I had like a ponytail, but I was looking crazy. And I was like, I guess. So I go to open the door. He slides up on the side, rolls the window down. He's like, you got a man? I'm like, sure don't. Surely don't have a man. So he ends up being like, take my number down, whatever. So I got his number. I get my Uber, and then I'm on the way to the nail salon. So he's texting me like, where you about to go? What you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm going to the nail salon because like I wanted to get my nails done. He's like, I could have drove you there. Like, you shouldn't even be taking Ubers, whatever. Mind you, y'all, side note, what I did is very dangerous. I don't recommend, but I'm good. I usually feel good with the vibes. So like if I could tell someone's got like decent vibes, I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. So he ends up meeting me at the nail salon and then like was like super pressed, like, oh, let me take you out to get drinks. Like, let me take you out to get food. Like, so I was really liking the press energy because for me, I like to know that someone is like very interested in me and like very just like, let me take you out. Like, let me show you off. So it was giving that energy. So, I was like, okay, I don't know about this boy, but like, I kind of like the energy. So whatever. So I think that night I couldn't go. I had a dinner or something. So I'm like, oh, I can't go out with you. Like, whatever. He's like, can we just chill for like 20 minutes then? Like, whatever. I'm like, why are you so, for me, I don't know. Cause I love that energy. But if it's like that off rip, I'm kind of like, a little like taken aback. I wouldn't even say, I don't know how to react when people are like so straightforward, like from the beginning. It's giving like, why are you so pressed? Like, I don't know. Like, I'm trying to figure out why you're so pressed. So he's like, oh, you just got everything I want. Like, you have your stuff together, you cute, you thick, whatever. So I'm like, okay, whatever, I guess. And you know me. So like, y'all don't know me, but I am a very exclusive type girl. Like, I am very picky about who I talk to, who I allow to be in my space and like around my energy. I don't even really find men attractive because they're just so stupid. Like, they just do dumb stuff and it's just like gives you a headache. It's just a lot. So I honestly prefer to be by myself. But at the time I'm like, okay, whatever. So we hang out for a little bit and then he ends up leaving because I had somewhere to be. So after that, he was like on my phone every day, like, what are you doing? Like, can I take you out? Can I, just like being like, I love when people offer to take me out because it's giving you want to court me. Like, you really want to take me serious ish. Like, I wouldn't even say serious because a guy can take you on a million dates and not be serious about you. But it was giving like you weren't just trying to mess around, which is the vibes I'm on. So, time goes by. He comes over a few times. We hang out. It's cool vibes. Every time he would come over, he would be pressing me to do things with him. So I'm like, I don't want to do that. Like, I'm not doing that. He's like, we're grown. Like, just whatever. Like, we're grown. I'm like, I genuinely don't have, I'm not doing it. So eventually, though, your girl folded and what happened. And after that, mind you, so this story is a little complicated because for a long time, I was curving him at the same time while entertaining him, if that makes sense. Like, I was kind of like playing around. Like, every time he wanted to go somewhere, I'm like, oh, I can't, I'm busy. Or, oh, I got this going on, that going on, when I really didn't have nothing going on. So that went on for a very long time. I didn't even realize, like, I had just looked up one day and it had been like 5 months of me playing around. So I'm like, oh, this is crazy. So, we had did what we did, but I was still kind of playing around after the fact. And then at a certain point, I started like actually trying to get to know him. And at that point, he was like over me pretty much. So it was giving very much using me, if that makes sense. Like it had turned into this whole thing because like I had been curving it for so long, I guess, or whatever, which I don't think should be a problem. If a guy really wants to be with you, he should be trying to be with you, like, no matter the time, I feel like. But it was like on some, I was playing around for so long. So it ended up just being like a friends with benefits type of situation. But I hated the situation because it was giving come, whatever, and leave. Like, it was literally straight like that. Like, it was straight like that. And he was the only person I was messing with at the time. But I kind of was just like, I didn't really care. Like, I just didn't really care. I just was getting really like loose with like my energy and who I allowed to share my energy with and stuff. So I don't know. I can't even explain why I allowed this situation to happen, but it did. And so yeah, that was that. But it was also like, I think what got me was he's very much like the type of person to be like, oh, I'm gonna do this for you. Like, oh, what do you want for Christmas? Like, I'm gonna get you this gift. Or just like empty-ended promises where like they're promising stuff, but they're really not following through with any of the stuff that they're promising. But I kind of was like, maybe one day he will, maybe one day he won't. I don't know. But then I also started realizing, so after I came to the conclusion, because it had been this one really bad experience, like, he didn't care about me at all. Like, it was very much like used. And I was like, I'm tired of feeling used. So, I had just came to the conclusion, like, I cannot keep doing this. Like, if I want to be this woman that is like successful and has a good man and, a nice family and married and all of that, like, I can't keep allowing these experiences to happen because I'm never going to like be in alignment with what is actually for me, because I'm just entertaining a bunch of dumb stuff. So it's like, I had came to the realization, after that situation, and I'm like, I cannot keep doing this. Like, I can't, especially because it had came to a point where like there was a possibility of him having like a girl that I didn't know about. It was just a lot. So I just came to the conclusion, like, I'm not going to deal with the bare minimum, not even the bare minimum, because like it was not giving anything at all. Like, y'all would be like so disappointed if you really knew like the whole situation, like word for word, verbatim. But like, it's just like, it happened and I was like, okay, I'm not gonna keep doing this. So I basically like ghosted in a way, like only because I had also like throughout the time period, right, of everything happening, like I expressed how I was feeling a few times. Like I expressed myself probably like 3 or 4 times. Like, I don't like how you're maneuvering. Like, you don't even get to know me. Like, you literally are just using me. Like, that's just how I felt. And that's what I expressed like 4 or 5 times. And it would be a situation where it would be like, I would say all of like everything I had to say. It would be like 2 big paragraphs, and he'd be like, "Oh yeah, okay, I understand. I apologize. You know, whatever. Like, I'm sorry you feel that way." And then it would literally be like, I'm like, "Okay, yeah, I just want to be friends. Like, I don't want none of that." He's like, "Yeah, cool." That same night, blowing up my phone, like, "Oh, I just want to see you. I'm like, psych ward, crack. What is it? It's something. It needs to go." So it's like, it was very much like everything I said went in one ear and out the other, and it was not like respected. What I wanted to happen and what I wanted the situation to be was not respected, and it wasn't carried out in a way that was like, something that could sit well with my spirit. So ended up like, cutting him off or whatever. And then he, what's it called? He was reaching out for like 2 weeks straight. Like, it was like, "What are you doing? Where are you at? What are you doing? Hey, I'm by your house. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?" And then it ended up being like a situation where after a while he like unfollowed me on Instagram, and then that's what that was. So for me, it was like, this whole situation, I feel like taught me like, well, okay, I wouldn't even say taught me, because I have been on this self-love journey and like this journey of finding myself for a long time now. I even went like a year celibate and all of that. So it's like, my mindset was I had to think like my mindset was so strong when I was celibate, and like I wasn't even like, I'm picky now, but I was way more picky than I am, like than I've been being. And I was not allowing someone in my life unless they were helping contribute to God's plan for me. Okay? Because I really feel like I get off track like very often when it comes to relationships, because I want that so bad in my life, or I want to have control of that in my life. And that's the one thing that I don't have control of. So I think that's why I infatuate with it so much. But it's like, I had to like really sit back, like, girl, where did we go? Because how are you allowing this person to like use you? And it's like not even like on like a low key type of tip. Like, it was like very blatant. It was like very black and white, and the paper was white. So it was like, how am I allowing this experience to happen? And like, why am I allowing this experience to happen when I'm in control of what my future life is going to be? Like, if the time to act on anything and set the standard for what the rest of your life is going to be is now. And I had been moving like, you know what I mean? Like, I was lost or something. So, I came to the realization, it's like, why not be the best version of yourself? Like, why not want the best circle of friends? Why not want the best partner to experience life with? But the more and more I think about like my past experiences, I think of the fact that like I allowed so much of this stuff to happen. Like, I'm not going to say that bad experiences are things you can control, because like on the topic of, sexual abuse or sexual assault, like the whole, the whole nine, those things are not in your control. And of course, don't blame yourself for things that happen that aren't in your control. But as far as like circumstances like this one that I just explained, I knew what was going on for a long period of time, and I still was like, well, okay, but I still want this. Like, I'm still moving out of, a place in my mind that's not thinking like progressive, like in a growth mindset. I was thinking in a very stagnant mindset. Like, I was like, it is what it is for right now. I'm young. I still have time. But I don't want to be 30 and just coming to realizations about who I should and shouldn't allow in my life and what standards I should have for myself. Like, I have the resources and I have the knowledge and I have the tools to build that woman that I want to be right now. So it's like, why not start moving like that woman? Like, I've read and seen so many things where it's like, envision the woman you want to be in life and what she does. When she wakes up in the morning, what does she eat? Does she work out? Does she read books? Does she watch podcasts? Does she drive a Benz? Does she, like, imagine the woman that you want to be in every capacity and start doing little things day by day that, you know, you can work towards getting to that woman. Like, I've read so many things about it, and it's like, yeah, of course I can't drive a Benz right now. Like, I'm not going to be able to drive a Benz right now. It's not in my cards. But I can get up in the morning and work out, meditate, pray, write in my journal, read books, start being more stingy with my energy and my spirit. Like, start being more picky about who I allow to be my friend or who I allow to know my business or all of that. Like, those are things that I'm working on right now. And I feel like all of my past experiences, I will say, do play a part in like how I feel like I think now. So I don't regret anything that I've done or anything that I've experienced, as like terrible as some of those things may have been. But a lot of those things could have been avoided, and a lot of those things could have like shortened my need to have to like heal from certain things if I would have just like nipped it in the butt in the first place. Like, y'all saw my episode about red flags. Like, we see those red flags, and well, I personally see those red flags and I ignore them sometimes. And it's not that I like them, you know what I mean? Like, I get hurt, but it's like, I still always want to explore and see the possibility of a person being something that you envision them to be versus what they are. So that's also another thing, is like, I'm learning to just accept people for who they are and what they show you versus like having these expectations for someone that you don't even know fully. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of unfair for someone to, especially in like my case scenario too, sometimes, where people have this like perception of what I will be like or how I will act and what I will allow and won't allow. And then when I end up being myself, it's a problem because they expected something else. You can't expect someone to be this perfect mold of who you want them to be, because everyone is their own individual person. But that's it for today's video. This video is short because it is just me, but I hope you guys enjoyed this little story time, this little episode about my business and some of the things that I'm realizing and like going through. And I hope you guys can like learn from some of these things. Like, I know sometimes they're just like regular stories, but I hope you guys, like, some of you may be going through the same things. So like, I hope you guys like internalize some of the stuff I'm saying and apply it, because it would save us so much heartbreak and so much healing if we just nipped it in the butt the first time. Thank you guys so much for supporting me on this journey and watching The Uncensored Truth. And with that being said, don't forget to subscribe to The Uncensored Truth on YouTube. Follow our podcast and listen to this episode via audio on Spotify. And make sure you like this video and share with your friends and all of that. Also, if you would like, you can also follow me on my social medias. I'm on Instagram and Twitter at Etolia.Magdalena. And I am on my own personal YouTube channel at Etolia Magdalena. So that is it. And I will see you guys next week for the next episode.